So a lot of kids going into next year, the question get asked, well, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? What do you want to do?
It's a stupid question. You ask the parent and teacher, are they happy? Are they happy with what they're doing for a living?
Yeah.
When I was 15-year-old Gary got made fun of by teachers, I looked them dead in the face. I did this 3 different times in high school and said, are you happy with the way your career ended? Like, you're telling me that I'm gonna be a failure because I got an F in science? Like, I have a very good read of what I'm gonna do with my life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a successful businessman. You may be right, Mrs. Stats. I remember your names.
Yep.
You may be right, Mrs. Stats, that I may be a failure. You also may be wrong. But before we guess what's gonna happen with me, let's focus on you. Are you happy with your life? Thank you. Hello.
Hi, how are you, buddy? Nice to meet you. Welcome. Come on, take a seat.
Thank you.
Oh,
Like,
that's
the
good to know.
foundational aspects of my happiness is predicated that I do not care what other people think of me, not because I'm audacious, it's because I know that they don't fully know me, the same way I don't fully know anybody. Everybody's scared because they're worried about what their parents, older siblings, spouse, partner, or best friends are gonna think about their failure. I don't care when I lose, it's my loss. That has nothing to do with you. Everybody I know is losing. So if you're casting judgment on what I failed at, that's fine, that's cute.
But you're not doing anything good for yourself while you're doubting others.
I'm just not interested in your judgment because everybody sucks at something else too.
Yeah, okay. We
So
all fail at some point, you're right.
that's where people are getting crippled. They're not doing things because they actually care about what other people think.
Hey, young Pedro here used
Yes,
to work for us. Now
I'm aware.
He's moved on. Pedro.
He's crushing it on TikTok, by the way.
Oh, are you on TikTok?
TikTok's a man.
Is it? You like
Wait a minute,
that?
Pedro can just come in like that?
Yeah, he can
You
do
guys,
whatever.
I like this place. Good job, Pedro.
I saw GaryVee's videos talking about TikTok. This is maybe like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And then I got an account. It just shot up. And
Really?
then, just crazy stuff, man.
And that's an example of first. TikTok's still looming. TikTok's the first platform, used to be known as Musical.ly, got bought. It popped 3 years ago. It's popped back up in the last year. And it's the first platform that has a chance to really push Instagram. As Instagram right now is the establishment in the culture.
Yeah.
TikTok may or may not, but it's at enough scale and it's young enough to do to Instagram what Instagram did to Facebook.
God,
Yeah.
And so you gotta pay attention to it right now. And most people are listening right now like, wait a minute, that's what my 11-year-old daughter's on. But don't forget, that's what we said about Facebook. That's what we said about Instagram. You know, these things start young and then eventually they age up.
Quality content or quantity of content, and he asked, why spread yourself across so many different platforms?
Because you're capable. Like, why did Deion Sanders play football and baseball? Because he was capable, but most people aren't. First of all, quality needs to be debated. Who gets to decide its quality? The creative director? The brand manager? Who? Before a piece of creative sees the day of light, it cannot be decided what kind of quality it is. We need to understand the agenda of the creative. And so, for me, quantity is not debatable. I always tell my team, guys, gals, if you're going to deliver a piece of work 3 days late that a client was waiting for, that's not a debate. You are 3 days late. That is not subjective, that's black and white. Once you deliver that work, what she or he thinks of it is completely subjective. And we see a lot of perfection and a lot of politics and a lot of subjectivity, which is just hiding insecurity in this industry. And so I do not understand how people don't understand that we live in a world of 10 to 15 digital platforms that really control the attention graph of our society. And for us to not be telling stories that are relevant to the 12, 15, 35 different cohorts that we could be speaking to across these 5 to 15 platforms is leaving something on the table. And I think agencies and startups and organizations need to restructure to be able to be a quantity and quality player in today's world. But a traditional creative department of copywriters and art directors and senior creatives debating work and then pitching 2 ideas is not built for a 2019 internet world, which is why they push so hard against quantity and judge it as schizophrenia or not on brand, spray and pray, see what sticks. I see it as marketing for the sake of getting quant and qual feedback to do better marketing.
I think we have probably just another minute or two left, so let me ask you one, which I'm sure you'll probably get asked a lot. Which are the platforms to watch at the moment? You mentioned TikTok earlier. Is that the coming one that you would argue marketers should be looking at right now?
For all the marketers that are listening, knowing the makeup of this audience, TikTok is important because just remember what you thought about Instagram and Facebook over the last 15 years. It starts super young, and then over time it ages up. And I do believe that we're in the moment of Instagram's prime. Instagram has become absolutely the prime place, much like Facebook was in 2011. And I think when you're in your deep prime, you're in the beginning stages of being past your prime. And I think that TikTok is the only platform that has that much use at that young of an age that has the potential to mature up and challenge. And so, yes, but we've also already mentioned, I think every single person that's listening to this podcast should start producing content for LinkedIn. Every one of them. Every one of them.
Regardless of whether people love you or hate you, like they want to listen to you, whereas I listen to other people in business and I just get bored and I just tune out because it's like a bit dry. So.
I think whether, I thank you. I think whether it's entertainment value, I think the one thing that has been that I'm very happy about is I stay in my lane. Like, I definitely believe that I know what I'm talking about because I mainly only start talking once something is proven to me that it works.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people right now are guessing for the sake of creating content or maybe striking gold. I appreciate you saying that. I really do think, it's also why I stay very narrow. There's a lot, I don't talk about SEO. I don't talk about, global economics. I don't talk about a lot of things because I'm not educated on them, but I think that staying in your lane of expertise matters.
Yeah, well, I think social, I know, looking at the content that you put out, I think it's really interesting because you're very much in that space and you have to be an early adopter to say new platforms like TikTok. In Australia, they actually recently just hid likes on Instagram.
I'm aware.
Which has been interesting.
Which I'm a huge advocate of.
Really, why?
I think that people have become too one-dimensional in knowing what their audience is looking for.
Yeah.
Completely predicated on the arbitrary number of likes. And I think it has limited creativity and expansion of people's horizons. And I think it's an extremely healthy change.
Okay.
And I'm hoping it becomes a global permanent change. I really do. And I'm somebody who gets a lot of likes.
Yeah.
I just think it will be better for more people.
How do you switch off when you get home? And do you switch off? That's the question.
I don't switch off, but I usually collapse and go to sleep. I get home very late.
Yep.
11, 12 is pretty consistent for me weekdays.
Yep.
So I'm exhausted after 18 hours and I bring a lot of energy all those hours.
Imagine.
When I think about my school career, those 8 hours, I probably put out 40 minutes of energy. And I see people do that at work all the time. They work for 9 hours, but they're really working for an hour. But for me, I'm going 15 hours and I'm going 14 hours and 52 minutes. So I don't turn off, but I think I just break down and go to sleep. So, I'm never off. I'm only on to something. Yeah, I'm just, things like sports card we were talking about before, those are good distractions, right? Like when I was flying here today on the 15-hour link from LA to here, I slept 8 hours, but the other 6 hours I was on eBay looking for arbitrage to buy soccer cards.
That's brilliant. Good stuff.
So I'm not off, but I'm doing something that is not that serious. So that allows me to, somebody next to me may be watching a Avengers movie and that's how they unplug, or somebody else might be playing a game. I tend to unplug by doing more business.
I'm coming to see you later.
Thank you.
We came up here with my dad because
How are you, sir? Hey, Dad. What's your name?
my dad introduced me to you a couple years ago. He's always been your biggest fan, always
Thank you.
preached your stuff.
Thank you so much.
Up until about a year ago, I didn't really take it on board.
Yep.
I just can't thank you enough for the message that you
What's
put
your
out
name?
there. My name's Jack.
Jack, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
Thanks for
Jack.
saying hello. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure to meet you.
I'm not in the best place right now mentally. I know.
Thank God it's so early.
Yeah, thank God it's so early. You know, like you say, I'm only 21.
I believe in that. I mean, there's no better time to not be in the best place than when you're under 30. You literally have your entire life to get into the best place.
In my whole 21 years, I've never actually got in touch with myself.
Yeah, listen, there's people who go 80 years that don't get in touch with themselves.
Exactly.
The fact that you're even aware to get in touch with yourself at this young of an age, in and itself, is a real accomplishment. You really need to understand that. It's the truth, Jack. I'm not trying to be nice.
I know.
Getting to a place where you think about those things at this young of an age, have that level of thoughtfulness, you're set up for success. Now it just becomes a game of making sure that the things that you're leaning into are completely predicated on the things that you understand about yourself make you actually happy.
Yeah. I've always been torn about which side of me I go to. So I'm still,
Look, one of the things that I can tell you is, and you know this better than he does, and even we're still young enough to not fully be there. Life is so long, the answer is both.
Yeah. Exactly.
You can go 8 years on being creative, wake up at 29 and say, you know what, I want to make a couple more bucks. I don't want to live in this place anymore.
Exactly.
And then go into your business side. I mean, I think that people think that they have to make choices when in reality, they don't.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a choice in perpetuity.
Exactly.
Make a choice right now, go all in.
Exactly.
And then maybe that's good forever. Look, one of the reasons I like leaning into the creative side is when you have a business acumen underneath that creative side, sometimes you end up marrying the two.
Yeah.
There's no victories in passiveness.
Exactly.
No, I gotta run. Jack,
Take care of
pleasure.
yourself. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Such a pleasure.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids going into next year, the question get asked, well, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? What do you want to do?
It's a
with
stupid
university?
question.
Yeah. What do you, if you're a 17-year-old, what do you say to a parent or a teacher or someone that asks you
You
that
ask the
question?
parent and teacher, are they happy? Are they happy with what they're doing for a living?
Yeah.
Because that's what I did. When my 15-year-old Gary got made fun of by teachers, I looked him dead in the face. I did this 3 different times in high school and said, are you happy with the way your career ended? Like, you're telling me that I'm gonna be a failure because I got an F in science? Like, I have a very good read of what I'm gonna do with my life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a successful businessman. You may be right, Mrs. Stats. I remember your names.
Yep.
You may be right, Mrs. Stats, that I may be a failure. You also may be wrong. But before we guess what's gonna happen with me, let's focus on you. Are you happy with your life?
Build off of that.
Yo, what up, Graham? If you got 2 G's and you're under 18, your business has to be about the thing you love the most. When you're youngest, the number one strategy is to try to start something around the thing you enjoy the most, because you have the most time to invest at this point around that strategy. There's nothing greater in the world than loving what you do and supporting the lifestyle that you want. And the best way to do that is to start as early as possible, because you have years that you could put in to try to get there. It's much harder when you're 42 and have all these expenses. It's still the right move at 42 as a side hustle until you can go off of your actual business and do it. But listen to me, and listen to me good. 2 G's as a foundation, $200 as a foundation, build a media company around your biggest passion, or flip stuff around your biggest passion. Flip sports cards, Pokemon cards, sneakers, clothes, or start the #1 podcast and Instagram and YouTube channel around that subject. Media or retail around the thing that drives you the most.
Have you heard of the tall poppy syndrome?
No, but it's funny you said that, because 3 people tweeted that exact terminology to me on a flight last night. Yeah. And I was going to Google what it meant, but then I got a pop-up, because right now I'm in a cocoon of buying sports cards, and I've been trying to buy up a bunch of Messi rookie cards, and I got a notification from eBay, so I got sidetracked and I had to go buy it, but I'm thrilled now, because now you get to tell me what it is.
Tall poppy is, well, you're the tall poppy and everyone else is trying to bring you down.
I see.
Yeah. So it's called the tall poppy syndrome.
It's funny, I have a saying that says there's 2 ways to build the biggest building. 1, just be good enough to build the biggest building in town. 2, try to tear down everybody else's building. I very much disrespect people who tear down buildings. I couldn't be more disrespectful of all the small poppies that are wasting all their time trying to tear down the big poppy instead of focusing on their own poppy and building a bigger poppy than somebody else's.
And telling that poppy no.
I mean, like, to me, I'm just not worried about anybody else's poppy. I don't care how big or small your poppy is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna focus on my poppy, and that's what I'm about.
Yeah.
And by the way, here's something else I'm very proud of. If you go out and build a bigger poppy, I'm your #1 fan. When I get a lot of accolades from my angel investing, but I'm often, when I get too much accolades, to say, hey, did you look at Scott Belsky and Chris Sacca? They did it better than I did, and I was part of that Gush book. So I'm not worried about anybody else's poppy. And if I happen to build a bigger one, then I want the clapping and the cheers for that. But if somebody else builds a bigger one, I'm not booing it, I'm admiring it. Especially if that poppy didn't use, fertilizer that was illegal.
Are you still seeing resistance to your content marketing methodology or your methodology?
Yeah.
And why do you think that is? Like, are they just laggards?
Because it's hard.
Right. People just don't get it?
People get it, people don't want to do it. I get that you have to eat properly and work out every day to have a tremendous physique. Doesn't mean I want to do it. Twinkies are fun. Sleeping in is fun. I'm out here, 90% of the stuff that's gonna be said out there today versus what I say is gonna be completely contradictory. There is no passive income. There is no shortcut. There is no system. Bleed out of your eyes and provide value and wait 30 years to build something meaningful. Who wants to hear that? There's resistance because it's hard.
You guys seem to generate more energy the more you work, and what do you get?
Yeah,
How do you do it? How do you get that energy?
I collapse when I walk in. Like when I walk in at 11 or 12 p.m., I'm asleep within 8 seconds.
How are you bringing all that energy all day?
I really like what I'm doing. You know how much energy I had in school? I think the more you like it, and listen, there's also that's like me asking you how you have a great head of hair. Like at some level, some people just have DNA. Like I've always had energy. That's just what I was given, right? So I also think for me, specifically, the combination of natural energy that was handed to me with whatever chemical infrastructure I have, plus genuinely liking what I do, that's how.
So you say the passion and the love is where you get the energy from?
Bro, every single person that chases cash over loving the process ends up far less happy than people think. All of them. That's my answer.
I'm on it, man. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Did you get your money's worth?
Love you guys.
Gary.
Yo.
Come on, Gary, just run. I've been waiting for you a long time. 5 years, bro. 5 years. 5 years I was waiting for you,
So,
man.
thank you so much. As I said earlier,
Can I take one photo?
Please, hurry.
I'm sorry, man. I'm really, really
coming
sorry.
out, and here is that website if you want to get involved. The price is $59 for you guys. You get a free upgrade to $299 package.
Thank you guys. Sorry, they're pulling me. Bye guys.
Lionel Richie's brother or something? He lay?
Yeah, sometimes people give me letters, which is always kind of daunting because I suck at reading. So it'll probably take me 10 to 50 times longer to read this letter than most people, but other times, I just sometimes don't get through them. Sometimes I'm not sure where they are, and other times, like tonight, where I don't have to do anything on the way to the airport, I'm gonna read it. And in that reading, in those stories, you get a lot of insights to themes or other things that I use to help, and plus get to deliver on the ambition of the person handing it to me, which is either being heard or whatever asks they may have, which is often the case. So that's the story of the letter.